You want to make $50,000 to $40,000 a year talking about Star Wars? Mazel tov.
Thanks for tuning in to the latest episode of Rise, Grind, Repeat. In today's episode, we talked to Tyler Wagner, who's a former MLB pitcher, who's now diving into the digital marketing game. Talk about why and what he's learned so far. Let's dive right in. Looks like you're doing a lot of marketing business, just some of the posts that you're doing, and it just made me interested. What are you doing? I love this stuff, and so really just want to get into what are you doing? You mentioned you just kind of retired, so what does that look like? What are you doing as you move forward, and just seeing where the conversation goes, and yeah. So you mentioned the Shopify store. What is the store? What are you doing? How did it start? Kind of would love to just hear.
Yeah, so I retired about 2-3 months ago, and kind of just fell on the opportunity. I helped Trevor Bauer. He's a pitcher for the Cleveland Indians. I helped his media company kind of film some stuff that they were doing up here in Scottsdale during spring training. So it kind of just went there just to kind of make conversation and try to understand what he was doing with his media company, because I saw they were going to do some pretty big things. So I developed a relationship with him and kind of told him my thoughts on that I was thinking about retiring, and he offered me a job to do his marketing and endorsement deals full time. So I'm on with him full time, doing kind of like his content creation, fan engagement, nice. All of his merchandise, and kind of just develop ways to grow his social and grow his presence in Cleveland and then throughout the whole United States, and then 3 to 5 year plan global. So on with him doing his stuff. Right now the focus is kind of creating collaborations with some of the players and some of the influencers I know in the baseball space. So doing like question and answers and stadium tours, kind of that sort of thing, to grow his YouTube, his Twitter's pretty big, his Instagram's getting there. So just developing strategies and that kind of the content designed to really grow his socials, but the merchandise is something we see a big need for in the baseball space. So we're kind of testing it with his, and then hopefully we're moving on to other guys that need that as well. But that's the Shopify store with some of the unique stuff that he's designed. We just released a product. One of his teammates got diagnosed with leukemia. So we created the shirt around there where 100% of proceeds are going towards that cause. And that one did 21,000 in 7 days.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So there's big stuff, and especially on the charity side of it, is being able to donate to stuff that these guys are passionate about, and a Shopify store and merchandise allows that to be.
What were some of the things you guys did for that 21K in 7 days?
That's all organic.
All organic.
All organic on his social.
Or
no, just
literally
his,
just him posting.
Yeah. So, and then we have a good size email marketing that I do as well, from his previous sales before, and then some other emails we've gathered through fan interaction, stuff like that. So that was a good little initial start is the email list, but we've seen how big it could be with retargeting for people not only in Cleveland, but people that are fans of the athlete that were donating toward his charity, that athlete, where we could retarget to on the fans liking him. So there's a bunch of different things that we have in mind, but I just have no idea how to do. So all those sales are from organic, him posting, him doing under describing what the charity is for, and kind of we're also doing a bunch of different organic ways that he's wearing the t-shirts that he's coming out with 2 or 3 weeks in advance, so he kind of gets that hype of dang, where do I get that shirt? And then we release it, and it's kind of like a big hype around that. So it's all organic right now, but we're trying to figure out ways how to expand.
That's cool. word that you just touched on, the retargeting. I absolutely love it. It's so underutilized. And like, for example, you just said the organic stuff, how you guys are posting 2 weeks in advance. Like, dude, you could set up audiences that anyone that engages with that post, you don't even need to put any money behind it. Just throw it out there. And then as people engage with it, and literally Facebook's engagement is if they stop for like 2 or 3 seconds or more. And so you can build this audience, and then when the shirt drops, you could literally retarget them and say, remember that from 2 weeks ago? Just dropped. So, I mean, stuff like that. I mean, it's amazing what you can do with all the different ad platforms. I mean, just the video part alone, I mean, there's a lot you can do. Again, you can retarget people that watch 25% or the whole video, and there's a lot you can do. But one thing that it sounds pretty interesting, it sounds like there's, content production, distribution, analytics, a little bit of everything. And so have you done more than just the video side? It sounds like you've been doing a little bit more than just video, right? Content creation.
Yeah. I mean, I try to get as much fan engagement as possible, so on his, the content side of it, asking, questions, relating to the post. We've created a whole strategy around, creating the Instagram stories based on the city that he's going towards. So, I have travel, IG stories set up to where he's going to Toronto yesterday. So now it shows, on the IG story, a little plane going to Toronto. And then we could do, other stuff like, whether he's in Detroit and we're asking, his audience what their favorite restaurants are in Detroit, and it just kind of more engagement stuff to make the fans feel like, they're a part of his journey and part of the process. So just coming up with those ways and then scheduling out those posts and having all that, set in stone, to eventually where, we have that process down, and then we can go, to other guys that need that, on their social medias and kind of give them the blueprint for what we've done.
And so are you guys looking to create kind of like an athlete's marketing company where basically you just help people? I mean, man, I've been saying this for a while. I mean, just anyone in pro sports, you have such an audience already just because of who you're around. And I mean, is that what you're looking to do, is maybe help people? And are you guys able to do stuff as people are playing? I mean, is there anything that you guys can do while anyone's playing?
There's certain things that the players union prevents you from doing, as far as selling merchandise with 2 or more players or 3 or more players. So you can't use those.
Gotcha.
You can't use a team in a picture that you're selling merchandise for, or else you're gonna get banged on that. There's some other different things, but I think the game's in a very unique situation of popularity decreasing and fans thinking the game's too long, and fans not thinking it's boring. So we're in a very unique situation where I think we're going to be able to take advantage of that, I guess, if that's the right word. Take advantage
leverage
of that.
The opportunity.
That's a better way to put it. Leverage the opportunity of disengaged fans to where we can try to bring them back in and make them fans of not only Trevor Bauer but baseball in general. So doing those different techniques, and then being able to do that for a good amount of guys in the MLB, because we see a big need in it in the MLB is going to be huge.
Yeah, no, that's huge. What part of everything that you've been doing have you liked the most? Anything in particular?
I like the idea, and I haven't been able to execute on it yet because my attention has been elsewhere, but I like the idea of going to a brand called a protein powder and going to them and finding unique ways to quote unquote advertise with athletes. So doing more of organic stuff, like daily routines. So we could create a daily routine YouTube series where we're doing a video once a week of him working out, what he does for recovery, what he does for endurance, all these different things, and then it's kind of incorporated with the protein powder, or it's brought to you by Muscle Milk with a watermark in the bottom left. So it's not just a, hey, this is my endorsement. I'm Trevor Bauer, I'm with Muscle Milk. It's more of like an organic content reach that, we're creating the content behind. And he has a media company that he owns as well to be able to create that content for him based on those deals. So ideally those would work hand in hand. And I would like to be able to be in charge of those content ideas to really bring it organically.
Gotcha. So you're more on you like thinking through the overall content strategy more so than the, hey, company XYZ, we have person 1, 2, 3 who can be an influencer and help you do sales. You like to help them produce the content that can then make the sales.
Yeah, absolutely. Or have it be one to where we agree on the content with the sales, and then it just kind of works and everybody gets, what they're desired out of that. The athlete gets the content to be able to put on his social media for his fans to see, his workouts, his daily routines, his question and answers, all those different things is providing the content for him. And then on the top of that content is produced essentially at cost by the company who's sponsoring that. So it's just a win-win.
That's a total win-win. Man, that's awesome. So how are you guys actually getting paid from this? Is it based off of sales? Is it just a contractual agreement that you get X amount of posts? It's kind of how are you guys leveraging that partnership? Or is it more so you guys are getting awareness from it, and then from that you're driving back to your merchant store and then trying to get sales that way?
Yeah, so I think we're still coming up with the kind of overall guidelines as to what we do. There's a lot of different ways that companies do it. I know a lot of them are tracking sales with, discount codes and stuff like that. I think that's more for like the micro influencer kind of business where they have to really track the sales based on, the code that they're giving them, based on trying to justify the ad spend on their influencer account. A lot of the companies that we deal with now are really trying to trade on brand. So it's not really tracking it based on numbers. It's more of like this is what we have, to increase our brand awareness, and let's give that to somebody who, meets those criterias and has the same characteristics and understands what we're really trying to do. And I think those are the companies that we're really trying to work with, is the companies who are trying to trade on brand and who are trying to, see the overall long-term vision of what we're trying to bring with them, and not just, one post.
I love it. So it's almost like you guys are doing influencer marketing to help each other's audiences grow. And as that audience grows, you can leverage that audience for your own sales, but not so much, promoting the other company. It's kind of working together to grow each other's audiences, knowing that over the long term, there's a lot you can leverage.
Absolutely. And I think there's with the athletes, there's multiple streams of income that could be whatever you want to call them, passive, whether that's merch, whether that's YouTube views, whether that's, a subscription-based model on their website, with a paywall of premium content, whether that's, training videos. You could go on, whether that's white labeling, coffee creamers, MCT oil coffee creamers, white label to be their brand. So there's a bunch of different ways that I think we're exploring. We're fairly new to what we're doing, but I think what we're trying to do now is get the process down with Trevor, work out all the kinks and everything, and then really design something for other athletes.
That's cool. Yep, building out the process. The proof is in the pudding. Once you get it built out, then it's to your point. It's then just a blueprint that it's you can now say, this is what we've done. This is how we did it. Bye, type of thing. How long have you been getting into this now? Were you curious before you retired? Was it?
Yeah, definitely. And I think that's, I just explored all this stuff on my account, or on my social. So I would reach out to companies. I would say, hey, listen, I have 10,000 followers at that time. I can get you the eyes of this many people. You can send me the product. We can work out something. So it started with free product and getting free food and jerky and protein powder and all the free stuff, and then kind of explored into getting paid for those posts. And then I got down to this road where I was getting paid for posts, of products I didn't really believe in. So it was like, all right, now we're walking down a little bit slipperier slope. Let's start, let's get back on track of, finding brands that you really align with or that you're already using.
Yeah.
So that's what I did with myself. And then I, explored different websites for sponsorship deals and contacted other people in the industry who were getting at other athletes deals. And I said, because most of the agents take 10 to 20% of whatever deal that they're getting you, so they're not working. It would be no negatives for me to not hire them, because whatever deal they're bringing me, they're just taking the 20% of that. So then I went down that road and understood what they could do with their relationships and of companies that they're involved with. And so it just kind of played on my account. And then I would do fan interaction giveaway stuff where I would give away a signed pair of cleats, and I would give away signed cards, and really saw my account grow from providing value for my fans based on what I saw that they wanted. So it was just kind of trial and error, and now we're here.
That's cool. What was it like going from okay, cool, I'm getting free stuff, to I can actually make money? What was that conversation like? Was it, did you have to think it through and really pitch it, or was it just like, oh, hey, by the way, it's just going to be this much for a post? And
it kind of hit me at once. It was like, I was getting free product for whatever, call it 6 months, and then all of a sudden I pitched them on an idea of paying me $500 for a post, and they said yes right away. And I was like, all right, perfect. Let me try that again. So then that became my standard of $500 a post. And then, it became $600. And then it was like, all right, I can get all these different companies, but do I really believe in their product? And then it was like, no, so I'm not going to do those. So then I increased my price to $1,000 and got one company to do it. And then pitched different companies on $1,000. No. $1,000. No. Okay, so let's move down. So it's just about adjusting and seeing what the market is capable of giving you, and then basing your pricing on the companies that you believe in, and kind of finding that middle ground.
Love it. Did you ever think growing up that you would ever be able to just post something and get paid $1,000?
No, absolutely.
Isn't that insane?
Not. It's wild what. You hear some of these numbers that these influencers are making per year, and obviously if you can find a topic or account that you want to do, whether that be your passion of traveling or food. There's people who have food accounts that are making $100,000 a year, and they love food. Like, that's the coolest thing in the world. Like, what? Yeah. So but then there's also people who hate doing what they're doing, and they are making $100,000. They hate their lives, and it's like, you should be doing something totally different. But
do you listen to him a lot?
Yeah, oh yeah, absolutely. That's where a lot of the mindset comes from is Gary Vee. He provides so much value and a better understanding of the thought process and self-awareness and just the key things in life that truly make you happy. So I think it's you could find anything I love one of his lines is you love Star Wars, like you want to make $50,000 to $40,000 a year talking about Star Wars, Mazel tov. And that's like one of my favorite lines, because he's like, yeah, if that makes you happy, then that makes you happy. So we're in a cool time of really when you can make a living doing your passion.
Yeah, it's insane. The type of world that we live in now, it used to cost hundreds of thousands of dollars to even get yourself on video and to even get it out there to people, and literally have it in our pocket now. And it's I think a lot of people are going to look back and just wish they would have done it more. It's crazy that we could all be our own little TV shows almost. It is insane. What has been the most interesting that you've learned through this whole process? What part of marketing has been mind-blowing, or
I think it's a lot harder than what I thought it would be.
A lot of moving parts.
Yeah, I just think from my aspect of it, trying to, because I explored myself probably about a year ago now about doing online lessons. So I would have kids send me videos. I would break it down on slow-mo, compare them to other big leaguers, and just the little traction that I got with that was very like, oh shoot, like this isn't as easy as I thought, of just posting a swipe up link and then all these kids are going to come and spend this. Like you really have to like split test, and you really have to, retarget, and you have to, give them a bunch of free information before they're even, trusting enough to give you their business. So it's like, it's a lot deeper than, surface level, seems like it would be. And so I think that's the biggest thing for me, is really what goes into the marketing of it, and, how you can really take advantage of that if you know what you're doing.
Yeah. I mean, it's crazy. I mean, we've done tests where it's on a landing page. I mean, A/B testing is everything. I mean, not everything, but it helps you move the needle very quickly. I mean, there's been things that we've done where literally just changing a simple button color from like blue to red increased conversion rate by like 50-60%. And it's like, wait, I mean, you wouldn't even think that, but without it, it's like, cool, there's a win. We got a couple more L's after that on tests that we did, but now we got this other win that we tested. I mean, there's one thing that I saw that was super interesting. They someone did an analysis on a web page, and they looked at eyes and what you're reading, and literally the only difference was there was one on the left side, a baby was looking at you, and then one, they were off to the side looking down at the content. The one that's looking at you, 98% of the people looked at the baby, and only 2% looked at the content. When the baby was looking at the content, it was completely flipped. And that, like, I'm literally getting goosebumps from it. Like 98% of the people actually read the content. So just, it's crazy how you could put so much focus into one thing. Like if someone were to put all their time into the focus of the content, it's like this image over here could be the determining factor of whether people actually saw the content. And it's insane. But without setting up the proper tools and all that stuff, it's tough to really figure out what is pushing that needle. You've mentioned a couple times just the organic side. You've mentioned retargeting and paid. I'd love to hear what are you, I guess, more focused on, or what excites you more? Is it the organic side and getting organic growth, or is it the paid side? Or
I thought it was the organic side, and we've had great impact and we've had great sales from the organic side, but it's almost like, you get tapped, like he has 87,000 followers on Instagram. So you get tapped out at that line where you're only going to sell a certain amount until you retarget to the people who are not following him, or, who are, he has a shirt that's, We Are Cleveland. And it's like, you can be a fan of Cleveland, but not be a fan of Trevor Bauer, but we've only targeted and sold to his organic following. So it's like, well, if you're not a Trevor Bauer fan, then how are you going to see that shirt? And so that's why we think retargeting and putting ads towards people in Cleveland area, Ohio area, would be super important for us.
Yeah, you could even, on top of just the organic, you could target the friends of the people that are following him. So this is such an underutilized, I think, tactic, and it's word of mouth on steroids. So it's like, have you seen those things where your friend likes whatever, and that's what it is, and it's word of mouth. So it's like, so now you can take it a step further, not just target people that are interested in Cleveland, but maybe you target friends of the fans of his page that are also Cleveland fans, and you can set up another audience that are MLB fans, another audience and now you can split test between all these ones. So now you're hitting all the friends of his fans, but now you're going, all right, is it because they like the MLB? Is it because they like him as a player? Do they like the Indians? Is it, now you can have 6 or 7 different audiences going to test which one works better. And then from even within there, you could have, 4 or 5 different pieces of creative running that are, maybe it's a picture of him, maybe it's a picture of Cleveland. There's a lot of different things that you can test throughout that. Is there any one thing that you guys have tried to test? Like what is, I guess, the barrier to you guys doing more? Is it just getting in and doing?
Yeah, we haven't done any ads whatsoever. So that's where it's like, kind of, are we ready to dive into that? Are we willing to invest, waste the money up front to really learn how to do it? Or are we going to hire people who have done this for 10 plus years to really dominate that right off the bat? So that's why we're kind of in the pinch, or we hire somebody in-house to do those for us as well. So we're exploring all options right now.
Yep. And like I said, that's why I wanted to hear more of what you guys are doing, what you guys have done, what are your pain points now? Because I'll throw this out there. You could have in the back of your mind. But I mean, we could do something where maybe we can do a Zoom call or something where let's pick a different topic every week and do an educational thing. So now you guys can do it in-house. You're not paying someone. If you allow us to use the content, that's exactly what this segment is about, is teaching others in the space. I mean, we could edit out all the secret sauce and all that, whatever you got. I mean, we could talk logistics on that end and what actually gets pumped out there. But I mean, we could do something where, yeah, we're essentially hired as teachers, but you're not hiring us. And I mean, we could figure out how to leverage each other's audiences. Cause I mean, it's, if we could say we're doing it with you guys, I mean, that helps us. And we're just all about creating those win-win-win situations. And it's like, to your point, I love the fact that you're like, no, we don't want someone to do this. I want to learn it. Like, that's like, okay.
100%. Cause like, then whatever, the person that we hired goes away, they move to Thailand, and I'm like, well, what just happened?
Exactly.
So it's also been a crazy diving into the Shopify world. There's a lot of people out there that are, screenshots 20,000 in drop shipping, and I could teach you for $500, and it's like, all right, well, is that guy fake? Probably. Well, this guy wants to teach me for 10 grand, but he is probably up there, in the Chase Heroes and the Watchers and these guys who actually pump out sales, and they are true businesses. And then you have another kid that's 18 years old saying that he does 5,000, but he'll teach me for $50, and I'm like, it's just like a very tough area to really invest your money in, because you don't know what you're getting. So
yeah. And so what are you guys trying to get from the Shopify side? Is it so much how to, I guess, organize your Shopify store better? Or is it how to just convert more or stronger, or just drive more traffic?
I think it's both, because then you look at what Shopify offers, and they offer marketing and email campaigns. Well, now MailChimp doesn't go with Shopify because they had some falling out. So then you have to realize what other mail service you're going to use. So just like understanding what Shopify, and then you talk about the shipping on Shopify, and if they do that in their Shopify, or if you have to add an app in of Easy Ship, and then they're hooked up to UPS but not FedEx, and then like there's just so many moving parts of one person will tell me to use PayPal, one person use Stripe, and then you're like, okay, well, which one? Oh, you find out this guy that is using Stripe, or that says to use Stripe, is in Switzerland, and he's doing that because he's in Switzerland. He wants to avoid PayPal fees, but you can't do that in the US if you're paying taxes and you have a true business. So like there's all these different things that you really have to dive down and really fail at to understand what really works. And so we're constantly in that battle of seeing what works and what doesn't.
Yep. And that's why whenever you mention how much we want to lose, and I said how much you want to invest, because it's a learning thing. If you dump it out there and don't learn anything, then I would say, yeah, you just squandered the money and lost it. But if you go, oh wow, I didn't think about that, people aren't looking at this, we can do this, and as long as you're learning, I think it's not so much a loss. It's more of an investment, and that ROI will just come down the road. Is there a particular reason why you guys went with Shopify instead of like WordPress, or?
It was easier. We just hired a website developer in-house, so I think we're gonna move it to WordPress and WooCommerce. But as of right now, Shopify just is super easy, and we can set up the print on demand for some of the items that we sell less of. We set those up on print on demand, and that works seamlessly with Shopify. So where I'm just plugging an item on Shopify, and it's already hooked up through Printful and some other print on demand stuff. So it's literally just seamless. Like it's leave it and go.
So is that where you could basically go on to this other site, make a design of clothing, add it to your Shopify. You don't have to pay for inventory until they click buy, and basically you're drop shipping, but you're your own. That's what that is.
It's Guac extra.
Dude, oh, I didn't even notice that. That is sweet. And how's the quality of everything?
So you can pick from like American Apparel, Next Level.
Really?
Oh yeah, some Bella and Canvas is another good one. So it's like, and you have, and like we threw out a Father's Day shirt, we threw out a 4th of July shirt. So really all our only costs on those are designs.
Yeah.
And so like, it's $200 to have the design. It said Cleve Land of the Free, and with, American flag with the city of Cleveland in the background. So it's like, we put that out, and if we sell $500, $600 worth, those in turn, as long as we're breaking even on that, we're gathering the emails, we're gathering the sizes, we're gathering, different stuff that we can use on the back of it to sell the big products that we're putting out.
Dude, absolutely love what you just said, because man, so many people focus on oh my gosh, I broke even, I'm not making money, or even I lost $5 on the sale, but it's like, okay, but you're not looking at the email that you got. The hardest thing to get someone to do is give you money for the first time. Once you have that, it's so much easier after that. And literally what you're just explaining is looking at the lifetime value of a customer rather than the one-time purchase. And it's insane how many people look at. I mean, I've worked with bigger companies and at an agency and stuff like that, and even then it's like we'll look at the average order value and it'll be like $1 or $2 more, and it's like, look, we're reaching people that have never dined in at your restaurant, and you're breaking even.
Yeah, now you should give them even more to return the second time.
Exactly. And and then they're like, well, we're breaking even, but then it's like, okay, well, let me ask you this. You guys, great food, right? Great service, yeah. They're going to come in more than once, right? Well, yeah. Okay, well then we don't need to market as much to get them in the second time. The hardest part is the first time. So then it's like, now if we cut that in half and they come in and spend the same, now your margins are double. And it's just, people just so short term. They look at, I lost money here, but it's like, you could have made an extra whatever it is over the course of 6-12 months. And yeah,
I watched the show The Prophet. I think it's on CNBC maybe, but he was talking about I forget.
Is that with Marcus?
Yeah.
Dude, I love that show.
So that guy, and then another one, he's in the restaurant industry.
John Taffer?
Yes, Taffer's said the restaurant thing of the return rate of a customer after 3 visits is like 85%. But he was like, he does everything as far as, first time customer, their first time customers, give them a white napkin. As soon as you know that they're first time customers, the head manager, whatever, comes over and gives them a free entree next time. So now they come in second time, that they have the free entree. They use it a second time. To get them to come back a third time, give them a free dessert. So now after those 3 times, now they're a customer for life. And it's like just those single little tactics, it can make everything.
It's huge. And it just goes to show, it's not just you got to market to get someone in the door the one time. It's knowing your numbers and what is that retention rate? What does it look like to get a prospect to a customer and a customer to a brand loyalist or brand evangelist? I mean, it takes so many sales, and now you got them like promoting you and all that. And there's all, what does it take to get from here to here to here to here? And
that was my biggest understanding too, when I'm really diving into this. Instead of it being, a customer being hot and cold, there's that spot in the middle where you really got to get them warm, and then you really got to keep getting them warm, and then now they're hot. Instead of it just being like, all right, swipe up, boom, here it is. And it's like, that doesn't work.
Exactly. And the beauty about with all these platforms is, I mean, how you can set up retargeting is so amazing. I mean, it's like, so there are things that we can do where like we're targeting people that are searching for marketing, like we had this going right now, people searching on Google for marketing tips. We're then hitting them with a trailer of this podcast, and then the people that watch 100%, it's a 15-second spot, people that watch 100% of it, like don't hit skip in 5 seconds, we then retarget them and say, hey, check out our latest episodes. The people that get there to the latest episodes, then we have retargeting that then highlights the most recent episode, and then we update that every week. But there's a lot in between to get them from watching that, and that's where we could run ads that just try and drive people to the latest episode, but it's like we got to tell them that, 1, this is a podcast, 2, who it's for, what it's about. Then whenever they see that, we take the people that are engaging and then figure out, all right, well, if you had the chance to skip in 5 seconds, you watch the full 15, you know that it's this, let's try and show it. And it's all those things in between that get foregone or lost. But I think the biggest thing for it is we can set up all these audiences. We know exactly who they are, but then it's producing the content that speaks to them to get them to the next spot. And that's where my whole background is, the Facebook ads, Google ads, the analytics and all that. What I've seen is working with, some of the biggest companies, they'll run the same ad for 3-6 months. It's insane. And so the variable is that creative, and that's the thing that's missing. And so that's where, Andre came in, that's where Colton's helping out, and that's where we're putting a huge focus is on the content creation. Because now, we were even talking about this earlier, it's it's almost getting to where it's easier to set up all these audiences. I mean, we were running things 4 years ago where if someone watches one video, we can then show them number 2, and then if they watch that, show them number 3. And so you could show a whole 5 series over the course of 15-second spots, but you're not showing them the next one until they actually watch all that. Google has just now made it to where you can set it up. Like, they've built it in and all that. Like, it took not hacking, but just knowing the system and how to set it up to do that. And it's like, they're figuring out how the value of building up these audiences, because at the end of the day, once you know who someone is and what they are, it's easy to have a conversation with them. And that's all this marketing is, having a conversation to get them to the next spot.
And I think one thing you touched on is creating that content that is unique to that person, I think. And I think, this comes to mind when you talk about retargeting of people who have bought, the Navy shirt, and now we're coming out with a red one. And having Trevor have a video saying, listen, I know you bought the Navy one. We're coming out with the red one next week. Just wait.
Exactly.
And that's that directly at those people who have bought the Navy one.
That's what it's all about. I mean, people think it's creepy, it's whatever, but I think we live in a world where people know that you're all trash. Like, you know what I mean? It's not like 8 years ago when someone's like, you went and looked at a pair of cleats, those same pair of cleats are following you around. It's like, oh my God, how are they? Like, everyone knows that you can do that now. And so I think, producing those pieces of content that are just super specific to who that audience is.
And essentially, if we're advertising, we're essentially providing what you are looking for.
Exactly.
If we're really doing our job of making good merchandise, of making good content, then we're giving you what we think that you really want. Yeah. So it's not a scummy way of doing it. It's not. We're literally giving you what you want.
Exactly. That's awesome. What are you guys doing from an analytics perspective? Do you guys have Google Analytics hooked up to Shopify or?
So it's all organic right now. We have like some outside apps to track his social growth, but no Google Analytics or no nothing. That's why we definitely need help.
Yeah. I mean, man, the ideas are just. There's a lot that you guys can do. I mean, there's a lot you guys are sitting on just because the audiences in your guys' network. I mean, all that, and there's so much that you guys could do. It would be fun to connect if it's something you guys want to pursue. It'd be fun to connect and do a learning series or something, because you guys are sitting on a ton of value. And I think if you guys just get a good strategy in place and figure out how to pull some of these levers, push some of the buttons, I think you guys can do some real damage. You mentioned video. Is there anything in particular that you guys are looking to do more video of?
With his media company, they produce all the content around like some of the behind the scenes of the players. So they're doing more like lifestyle, the guy's hobbies. He's sitting down he filmed a series in spring training with 12 other big leaguers. It's a series called Bauer Bites. And they sit down for dinner and kind of have conversation about, their hobbies, off-season stuff that they do, the state of baseball, their favorite minor league stories, just kind of like just having a conversation of providing the fans, a little bit more depth of what these guys' characters are actually like. So that's more of what his media company does. And then on his personal side, just coming up with ways, to have fan interaction, whether that's a question and answer series, whether he's a big drone flyer.
Oh, really?
Yeah, oh, yeah.
Is he FAA certified?
I don't know. Yes, he is. I take that back. Yes, he is.
Is he?
He flies like a racing drone.
Oh, dang! I didn't even know they had
quick.
those.
Oh, Did you know that? It's wild. So he.
They have cameras on him too.
Yeah.
Dude.
With live stream, and he's like quick.
First person.
Yeah, first person flying. But so like producing the content around the stadiums and different events that he goes to like that. So just really kind of figuring out what he wants to do, and then reverse engineering and trying to see how we can provide value for fans and have that engagement.
Those things where what the media company is doing, is he doing that for himself, or where's that content going? Because those things where it's taking 12 people and literally everything that's outside of baseball that's just getting to know you, that is powerful. Like how is that content being used?
That's the idea about it, around his whole media company is called Momentum, and essentially what they do is just produce the behind the scenes or a better perspective on guys who play in the MLB. So I think he's in a unique situation now where he has good relationships with a lot of guys and players in the MLB. So doing travel videos on the travel in the MLB, guys who visit coffee shops around every city, and just kind of creating the content around that. And right now they're just doing just trying to pump out as much content as possible, whether that's all-star game footage, and they're kind of using that, and then a combination of housing that under their socials, watch_momentum, and then providing that content for the player to be able to use it on his socials as well. So it's kind of like doing both, providing the value for the player, because they're using that player to produce the media, and the player wants that done because nobody else is doing that for him. MLB's not doing it. The team's not doing it, unless you're Mike Trout, the top 10% of baseball players. They're not creating the content. And then also too, I don't want to film a series on myself on what I think are the top 5 ballparks and put that out myself. That looks kind of not good. So if you have a media team that will do that, it's their idea, they're producing the content, and then you're just reposting on your platform. You're getting the content, they're getting the content. It's kind of a win-win for both.
And with that content that you're getting, so this is where I think you should put dollars behind, because when you get, all right, so it's like, hey, we have all these products, you have these, but then as you get that out, retarget people and show them these. Once people start seeing the behind the scenes, you build a relationship, and it's easier to buy from a friend than a stranger. So it's like, you kind of, hey, this is who I am, get them into your overall funnel, and then show them all the products that you have. And then once using data and building out the audiences based off of how much they've consumed, then just start peppering them with all these behind the scenes. I know that it's a little bit of everything, but this could be a whole tactic that you guys can use just for that. And then as people see the behind the scenes, they build that relationship. But then you guys could also transition to, as you guys get new products, anything like that, just give it 2 cents on why are you guys even offering? Because if you're offering something you don't even like, it'll come out. But I think getting someone's 2 cents on why they're even offering to the world, I think that would go pretty far. And just this. People love stories. Getting the story about how you guys came up with whatever design, like just a 30, 60-second spot on how the idea happened, from idea down to now it's available, and then give that with the purchase. I think that would go a long way, and that would be something that isn't right hook, and buy this. It's a way to show the personality, show the reason why everything was made, on all that stuff. And I think that alone, once you get people that are watching and consuming, then you retarget the people that are engaging a lot and say, hey, thanks for watching. By the way, buy now. And then that's when you go in for you do a lot more jabs with that behind the scenes, POVs, the relationship building, and then you go in for the right hook with the people that are overly engaging with that stuff.
And then hopefully it's a no-brainer.
Yeah. Because you'll see it in the conversion rates, and that's where do we wait until they've seen 3 pieces of content, 5, 10, and that's where we start getting into a lot more the analytics side and all that A/B testing, where it's do we show them 1 piece, 5 pieces, and what is that point? And not only the amount of times, but what is the content that we show? Is it the why? Is it the what? Is it where we got it from? And there's so many different variables that you can test within that, but I think that would go a long way. And even then, it's as you guys build this up and you do that more, it's helping you guys network more, especially if you're doing it with other players, like you just said, the going to other stadiums. Now you're leveraging other audiences to then build yourself up. But then if you guys can create a blueprint for this, that's how you would scale it, is like, look, this is the model that we can do. Like, we already have a ton of a lot of content's already produced for you because we already have it and all that stuff. And then you guys can just scale the idea that you guys are doing quickly.
That would be the idea. And we're, in the beginning stages of that. Like I said, we're all of it's organic right now, and the retargeting and all that kind of stuff is the direction that we're moving into now.
Yeah, because I mean the beauty of it is you set your own budget. So I mean you can spend 10 grand in one day, or you can spend $50, and that's what it's all about, is where to test and small amounts of budget to find what's working, and then all of a sudden you take that $50, turn it to 100, and then that 100 goes into 5, and then you just grow, and as you're finding success. Oh, that's awesome. So as a kind of wrap up, there's a lot of good stuff that has been discussed. What I would love to get into is Guac Extra. Where did that come from? Like, it's so funny watching how many people repost that. Like, it is insane. It's insane. So one, how did that come to be? And two, why do so many people repost it? And yeah.
So that came about. I mean, I retired 3 months ago, and my whole social media following was built off of me playing baseball. Mm-hmm. And so then I was stuck in this situation where I wasn't playing baseball anymore. So I just was like, all right, well, I'm just going to document my day. And it kind of just ended up to where I was having Chipotle 3 or 4 times a week. And I was like, let's make some content around this. So one day I filmed myself walking into Chipotle. And then, somehow, I don't even know how it came about, but one day I was just like, I think I saw the sign that says guac is extra, because they used to have to say it 3 years ago. They used to have to, every time you said, I want guac, they said, it's extra. And so that's how it used to be. And then they were like, oh yeah, well, we'll just put up a sign that says it's extra. And so now every time I go in there, I ask, is guac extra? And now the same restaurant I've been going into for the last month knows the deal. They know what I'm about to say. So they're all about it. She loves it. She follows me on Instagram as well. So she understands that. And then it kind of turned into a marketing style of how can I make this, go a little bit viral. Mm-hmm. And, so then I, reached out to one kid I knew and said, hey, I see you go to Chipotle too, like, ask if it's extra. So he reposted it, and then I reposted him. And once people see that you repost other people's stuff, they're trying to do that as well. So they're like, oh, I want to get on Tyler's Instagram, so I'm going to say, is guac extra? And it kind of just kept going like that. I kept rewarding people for, tagging me in their posts, because I'm hacking their audience, they're hacking mine, so it's kind of like a win-win either way. And then it was like, well, let's throw up a Shopify store. So you could get your shirt on isguacextra.com if you would like. And so then it just kind of became this thing of like, okay, well, if I'm doing this for other athletes, I have to have somewhere that I test it myself. Mm-hmm. So then that's how I made that Shopify store, put the print-on-demand products in there. And so it's just kind of like a way for me to play around with the marketing style and try to, now I'm in the process of, sending the shirts to influencers that I know to try to push those sales and try to just play around with stuff. Yeah. So it's, kind of just my way of messing around, because I don't play baseball anymore, and I don't have that much content. I literally sit at my desk all day and do work. So it's like I have to come up with a way to, and it's not even just, I'm not even like Gary Vee's whole thing is don't create, just document. It's like I literally go to Chipotle 3-4 times a week, and I document me getting Chipotle, and I document me drinking coffee every single morning. And so it's like just absolutely. So it's like if you could just document the things and put it in a way that people find funny, find entertaining, provide some value, which I haven't, I don't do on coffee or guac, but it's, it's entertaining. It's giving people like, oh, that's what he does. That's, what he's doing. So it's just a fun way for me to explore different techniques.
Love it. You're literally a marketer at heart. Totally. It's just we go into here and then see that it creates some attention, and how do we leverage it? It's awesome. Like you're gonna kill this. Once you start learning a bit more, you're brand new into it. Like you have the mind for it. Just after hearing a lot.
I don't know many things, but I'm willing to learn.
Yeah, and just the dedication to learn, and it sounds like you have a passion for it as well. And so, it'd be awesome if we could get something going where we teach, but if not, it's gonna be so fun watching your guys' growth, because it's gonna be huge. You know it.
I appreciate it.
So, well, I appreciate your time coming on. Before you take off, would love to give you the opportunity to highlight everything you want to highlight. Where can people find you? What social channels do you want to direct people to?
For sure. I think you can find me on Instagram, Tyler Wagner. And then if you would like to buy this shirt, you can go to isguacextra.com.
Boom.
Perfect.
Appreciate it, man.
Sweet.